So Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself and you and your art.
Well, I've got a big family. I've got 6 children, great wife, and have a landscape company to help support everything because the art unfortunately just doesn't make enough to make it. So, but that's my passion is doing the art, and that's what I went to school for. So in all my landscaping, I drag this art that I've made and beg the clients to let me put it in there. And some of them really like it. Most of them, it's not that they don't like it, but it kind of freaks them out a little bit because it's not just cute stuff. So, but we can talk about different things that I make. So over here, this is a bowl, and what's cool about the bowls is that they can also be used as a water feature. Water can come out, but what's really important to me about a bowl is I think of them as sort of vessels where you have an outside and then the inside, and the edges to me are like a beginning or an end of something. So just like in our bodies, we have this outside and then this inside. So with the bowls, it really shows that inside and that outside, and then I can tell a story just like a movie. As you go around the bowl, you can tell a story. Like this has whales that are flowing this way, and then whales this way, and dolphins. It takes a little while for your brain to connect to the images, and I do that on purpose because you don't expect to see those things, but then once you see it, then it just causes you to be more involved with the sculpture. This sculpture here is bronze, and I'll get it and hold it. So my version of a communion cup, actually. So I studied like what kind of cup would Jesus have drank out of. So I studied with ancient cups, and then what I did was just transpose his body. You can see there's the front of his body, and there's the back, and it's like torn in two. And this is made of bronze. Okay, so this is a bowl that's made of bronze, and if you look at this close here, you can see there's a child that's asleep and dreaming. And for some reason, I always had a recurring dream of a horse, and even though I never really was around horses, but it's always in this motion. So as you look around, you can see here's a horse, and I tried to sculpt it like it's moving. So this is what's going on with this one. And then this bowl here, I call this one the history bowl. And I've picked, everything here has sort of a Greek feel, because I really feel like that's the best art that was ever made, was Greek sculpture. But then even at its best, it all just came down. It's like the best that we can do. We always end up failing. But anyway, as we move around here, here's the face here, and then as we move, you can see here's a kind of an angelic figure with wings, but you can see that there's body parts sort of sloughing off, arms. Like it once was great, but then it's sort of losing its form. And then here, there's like a fallen soldier, and you could see, his arms sloughed off here, and his helmet, and then there's his body laying down right there, until eventually you can just barely see this figure. It's almost all gone, so you can just barely see it. And then in this sculpture here, you can see this just has horses sort of running around it there. You can see that one, and as you go around like that, see the horses there. That's the cool thing about the bowls, is you can kind of tell a story as you go around. So this is the art piece that was selected for the Delta show, and one of my daughters had to sit patiently with me while I did this. And so what I've done is sort of combined the sculpture and painting together. And what's kind of fun about this is, rather than, you don't really paint traditionally, you don't take a brush and paint it, you actually throw the paint. So you get really good at flicking it, and it's just layers of paint thrown on, and you allow it to run. So it's really a fun way to mix the sculpture and painting together.
Tell us about the materials that you use to give it that texture and that depth.
So it's a canvas, and then I use the same wax. There's this really heavy-duty wax that's used when the bronze. It's the same wax that the bronze will vaporize when a bronze casting's done. So I'll use that, heat that up, and actually throw a lot of that on too. So it's more of an action throw kind of thing. I build that up, and then just paint everything white, and then add the color on top of that.
Joe, talk to us about the figurative component in your art.
Okay, so we can look here. This is my Adam and Eve here, and on these I try to. You can see where I've sort of broken into the figure, so you don't just see the surface, but you actually like go inside and sort of put yourself inside, so it's not just all about the surface. And then here's the Eve part there. You can see in this is like a little mini pond here. I mean, those are all plants that grow in the water, and it's like these plants are sort of growing out of his psyche, and then this representing a whole another world too. So just exploring that spirituality and psychology that goes on inside of us. How can we not just see the outside, but kind of explore what's going on inside? So this is one of my favorite sculptures, and what it is, it's actually my interpretation. I don't know if you've read the description of the Ark of Covenant in the Bible, but this is my interpretation of that. And actually it's the Ark of Covenant in kind of a nuclear meltdown. This is supposedly is the greatest thing ever made by human hands. There was nothing that was as beautiful, or if we follow the text, and just has so much meaning that it was so holy that it can only be visited once a year, and sacrifices had to be made. This represents like Jesus coming, and then when he came, and then it made all of this just dissolve, all this just break down and dissolve. So you can see that it's all in kind of a meltdown, something greater coming.